So just an
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Truly
It's a
shocked.
Business Pants Friday show here at August 29th Studios, featuring analyst Hall, Matt Moscardi. I think it's great that those Class B lift shares are already showing up in antique shops. I think that's cute.
I'm just waiting for one to show up like on eBay
Or
and
Etsy.
and
little
it'll be
doodles on
like looking for $1,100 for this vintage Class B share.
On today's weekly wrap up, double anti-rainbow Cracker Barrel. Do you see what I kind of did there? Double.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's two.
The
yeah.
The restaurant chain Black Lobster, and Matt's favorite cheaters.
Oh, boo! I don't want my favorite cheaters.
Our
anywhere.
show today is being sponsored by FreeFloatAnalytics.com.
Oh,
The only
yay.
platform measuring board power, connection to performance for free. You know, sometimes I look at some of our peers. I was going to call them rivals, but I don't think we get enough business to call anyone a rival.
We would have to.
I look at like ESG consulting companies, corporate governance consulting firms. I look at ESG data providers, like the MSCIs and smaller boutiques.
Yeah.
None of them. I mean, some of them offer like some bloggy stuff. Like they post like little like statements and little news articles. None of them provide you anything, any analytics, any data, nothing for free. Nothing. None of them do. We do. FreeFlowAnalytics.com does. I mean, I should say.
Not only does FreeFlow Analytics have a giant database that is free and is in the middle of an update. So if you're wondering, when's the next update? It's coming in the next couple of days. Not only do they not offer you anything for free, but we also offer a zine that has
weekly zine.
A weekly zine that has information and analytics underneath a pile of snark. We offer we're doing 2 shows on Business Pants. We're doing 1 show on Proxy Countdown.
And
We've
Mike
got
and
Shareholder
Ann.
Primacy. Mike and Ann doing
that's the thing.
There's so much content and information that is actually useful.
Here's where I have to chuckle.
It's amazing.
Is that I follow a lot of people on. The only social media I use is LinkedIn, although it sort of drives me crazy, and I'd kind of be happy not to do LinkedIn anymore. But that's a whole other story. Occasionally, people post these kind of like pithy little news items about corporate governance matters. People, we are the only ESG corporate governance news service in the world. We cover dozens of these stories on every show. We have so much information here. If you're posting it on LinkedIn, we've already talked about it on the podcast 3 weeks before. Not to mention that we've gone into great depths of analysis. We don't just post like something like quirky and witty and hope and kind of ask for your likes and dislikes or whatever.
I have no wit.
We put out whole shows on this stuff. So I don't know. So if you care about this stuff, tell your friends. This is the only
get
ESG
some friends
news
first.
company.
If you're listening
in
to the show, you probably should get some friends first and then tell them to listen to the show. All right, let's go. Story of the week.
I'm sick of talking. Oh, we have to do a show now? Oh.
Yeah, that's not it. We have to do the actual show.
Here we go. Story of the week. I don't want to do this anymore. Thank God it's over.
Can we just skip it?
I guess we could. I'll try to go super quickly.
Gloss. Yeah.
I'm calling this the Cracker Barrel BS. So everyone knows about this story. We don't have to spend too much time. In a nutshell, the female CEO, and I should mention that because I think that's kind of sort of a part of this story.
And I combine it with female-powered board. It's one of this was in the zine.
There basically are none of those.
It's like 120 female-powered boards in the United States. This is one of them.
Yeah, Julie Mastino is the CEO. Okay, so she changes the corporate logo, which wasn't even the original logo. They get rid of the barrel. They get rid of some old white man. And everyone goes... I shouldn't say everyone goes crazy. A very small...
7 guys.
7 white dudes went crazy, including some of the classics. Like, I think the Robbie Starbuck types, right?
Yeah, Robbie Starbuck.
And then, of course, Fox News picks up on this because hate is the new... This is what we sell now in America. We sell hate. And you know what? It kind of works.
It exports, yeah.
It works on social media. It works on the news. So the CEO and the board, the board should be included in this. They decided to, after apologizing and saying, we're sorry that the way we did this, but we're going to keep the logo. after Donald Trump, the president, weighed in, they then said, "Never mind, we're going to keep the old logo." Okay, that's
Unbelievable.
the story.
Yep.
Okay,
And that
I don't.
was
So
within a
yeah,
week. All of that happened in 1 week.
all within a week. So and don't pretend that anyone actually cares. Nobody cares. And there's a great article in Fortune today or yesterday says Cracker Barrel's inconvenient fact: all the customers who loved its old logo had stopped going to the restaurant.
Correct. Didn't we say that?
Yeah, Matt said it like
I
maybe
literally
10 days
ranted
ago that
about it.
the average age of their customer is like 642, I think.
It's like only Yoda goes there anymore.
Yeah.
And
So I don't know what we're protecting. What's that?
I don't,
So
what are we doing?
why is the CEO protecting this logo?
Because, like, what choice does anyone have anymore except to capitulate? Like, everyone
Well,
just
that's
bends
not
the knee.
It's not true. You don't have that. You have choices.
I don't know why. Honestly, I might have stepped in a Cracker Barrel if they had said, you know what, we're keeping the logo. Go F yourself. I might have actually
No, I still
driven
wouldn't have
to
gone.
a Cracker Barrel
Still wouldn't
and
have gone.
just gotten one order of meatloaf and said, I will never eat here again because the food is horrible. That's why people don't eat here.
So here are a few other things happening at the same time, and of course, Fox. The one that's reporting this the most is Fox News and Fox Business.
There's nothing else to report on.
Cracker Barrel has already taken down its Pride page, right?
Yeah, I heard that.
And including some of these other groups. They link to these business resource groups.
Look, the good news is gays don't eat meatloaf anyway.
So they got rid of now that they're no longer pointing to all these groups that they used to support. One was Be Bold, which develops black leaders. One was OLA, which promotes Hispanic and Latino culture. The LGBTQ plus alliance, of course, is gone. The Neuroverse Collective, which focused on advocacy around neurodiversity. Even the a veterans group they took down. They took it in all down. A women's group all
Wow,
down.
they took down the veterans.
Yeah. So
Hey, vets, did you know you're diverse?
and all that information is available on the Wayback Machine. I don't know if anyone ever uses the Wayback Machine, but when a corporations take down information on their website, it's the first place I go is the Wayback Machine. You can look at the site before they
Mostly,
took it down.
I used to look at pictures of directors from the past.
Here's another headline. Despite claims it's too woke, Cracker Barrel actually has a fraught LGBTQ plus history. So their founder, Dan Evans, Evans, one of the things he's famous for,
Wait.
unfortunately,
Sexual harassment.
is that there was a policy that if your sexual preferences fail to demonstrate normal heterosexual values, that's according to their quote, you were to be fired. That was a directive, a written directive, and the founder and former CEO and former chair Dan Evans, his explanation for this was that the edict was that gay people made customers in rural areas uncomfortable. So they actually, there as many as 16 employees who were openly gay or suspected gay. I don't know what that means. What does that mean to suspect someone's gay? You're either gay or anyway. They were fired. The shareholders actually stepped in. I was spending all morning looking at very old filings from the SEC that go back to 2000 on their database. In 2002, 50% of shareholders actually a proposal to explicitly forbid anti-discrimination at this company, which is crazy to think that we were way more progressive and liberal in 2002. At the same time, the board, I couldn't find any proof of this in filings, but shareholders led to the board removing Dan Evans as the CEO, right?
Sure.
So all this was happening. There are also some other things happening. In 2004, the Justice Department sued the chain for discriminating against black customers.
Whoa, we're back to that.
Yeah, and so anti-gay, anti-black. So this, I guess, and I'm not saying this. This is not even tongue-in-cheek when I say this. I guess this is what MAGA, Donald Trump Jr., Robbie Stolberg are referring to with heritage. They're referring to this supposition that people in the South like to hate on gays and hate black people, which I personally don't believe. I don't think America is filled with hate. I think that is just a divisive thing that we sell now that seems to work. But I actually don't think that most people who go to Cracker Barrel believe in this shit. But
Well,
we're being told they do.
I want to take it
yeah.
further back.
Go ahead.
Okay, so my biggest problem is you can't even get. So a Cracker Barrel is a barrel of effectively saltines.
Yeah,
and
I
that,
like saltines. Whenever I have I throw up or I have diarrhea, I eat saltines.
Yeah, I think that's the only use case.
Which to
anymore.
our listeners, I want to be clear, it doesn't happen often. Okay.
It's a version of like a soda cracker, right?
Yeah.
Like and to be stored in barrels, and people would sit around, hang out, and that was the thing. I'm back for our heritage. I think we serve Cracker Barrels. I mean, cut it off. Okay, for our heritage, and this is like you change this. If you don't want to change the past, even though the logos are, and now we're going second logo of the, like we're not going back to the first. We're going back. You are effectively saying there was a period from like 1960 to 2004, 20. That's go matter. Teen crackers, and so to them, it all should be the same. In without overall, like what line is even?
Yeah, I really am sick.
Tired of this conversation.
Yeah, I'm going to add before we move on. This the in the. I'm sure a lot of seen this guy,
Dan Evans.
So the
logo, sure, Dan Evans. Of what?
I'll say to who he company one of the like is he Evan mother. I mean, he was a master of the brand.
Brother
person thinks it's not
him.
Yeah. So one that prior company consolidated oil company founded other. So that American heritage that
was oil right? And crack.
I love it. That's it. Add about. I hope we're barrel.
I mean, actually bigger. Some of it's
brazen.
We pretend are just that we want old from a store where no it's percent of its business over the years, and all customers are dying off. No Cracker Barrel. We tend to be as prominent as many places as if you finger white guy say to get young look like a chance, we are you over as much. That's the bigger pretext.
What pains me, you mentioned this before. This of one of my favorite talking points was that this happened at a female-led board. It's a female-led board.
Clear about the female-led board here, and this is what I anticipate being some of this being in the zine this week. Like female-led companies, female-led boards do not exist except in like two cases. The primary one is as cleanup. This is your classic. Company is failing. No one is going to it.
Yes, she came in in 2023 to turn this company around.
To turn this company around.
Yes.
Part of turning the company around is appealing to new customers who what you might want to sell.
Which is what she said. She said when her initial apology. Yes.
Her was to create growth in this company, not to preserve your heritage. Meatloaf, for Christ's sake.
Well,
Her
there is,
job is to
but
make it interesting to someone not the original customer who's not going.
and to be fair, 28%, 37% of the company is held by institutional owners, at least the top three institutional owners. I'm sure there's a lot beneath that. And the other 9% is held by a very loud MAGA dude who also owns Steak and Shake named Sardar Biglari. So
Yeah.
she's dealing with some like very strange activist investor MAGA investor
that's-
attention here. So
That at this point is par for the course for the failing companies. Failing companies attract weird, outlandish, activisty.
yeah, but
style
usually they're not
investors.
so overtly political. This guy is now doing the rounds with
used
his
to
like
not
MAGA
be.
hat on.
Every tech bro
Well-
in the universe now is overtly political.
And I said I was going to stop talking about it, but I do want to add one thing. What happened to this notion of like we were angry at woke companies for not for not performing their fiduciary duties, right? We basically want to send ISS and Glass Lewis and BlackRock to jail for looking at ESG things. Since when should a company be preserving its heritage over looking at the bottom line and trying to get
Yeah.
customers in and
That's
trying to make a profit?
exactly
What the
correct.
hell is happening?
That's
You're
the trade.
You're refuting all of the bullshit. This is misogyny and racism. That's all it is. And
That-
and homophobia. I'm sorry.
That
too.
don't forget that. Notwithstanding, that sums it up. The
How
the
dare
trade
you?
that's happening.
The company's struggling. How dare you?
Here's the trade. The trade is you are trading growth, turning the company around, capitalism, making money for your perceived victimhood as a cultural
All right.
heritage. In no other facet
Yeah.
of America do we make the trade that says your perceived victimhood should actually take a stance over making the money. In fact, the argument against being woke was that like you aren't doing it on merit. You're losing growth. You're giving something up to do ESG or environmental things or be woke. And the fact is, Cracker Barrel proves the opposite. Your stupid cultural heritage is holding the company back. Why
Yeah.
do you think companies went to this in the first place? Do you think they do it because for moral reasons? They want to take a political position?
More money.
They want to attract
Money.
customers.
They want money.
They will say whatever they fucking can to
Well-
get every one of us to go in and buy shit.
I went to the website and I ordered 4 meatloafs for dinner and 4 Diet Cokes with tax and tip. That's $100. So there's.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but your customers, your heritagey customers, they can't afford a gross-looking
paying
meatloaf
that.
dinner for $100 for
They're
a
not
family of
paying
4.
that. All right, let's
Okay,
move on. I
okay,
never
I'm
want to
done.
talk about this
I'm
company
done.
again.
I'm done. Shame on you, Cracker Barrel. Though you suck. I mean, you really suck. Number 2 story of the week. Unfortunately, it's kind of more of the same. The anti-DEI purge continues. So I have 3
Again,
stories under the same umbrella. The Fed emphasizes its commitment to independence as Lisa Cook pledges to sue over Trump's illegal firing. So Trump trying to fire black woman Lisa Cook from the Fed. And then the White House, they also fire CDC director, another woman, Susan Moneres, who says, because she said that I suppose that RFK Jr. is weaponizing public health. Now, the person they've replaced her with is this stooge named Jim O'Neill. He's referred to as RFK Jr.'s deputy. He is, unlike Moneres, unlike Susan, he's a former investment executive who does not have any medical or scientific background. He is being
good.
chosen to be the new CDC director. He
Just for
he
those
served as a
listening.
speechwriter for the health department during the George W. Bush administration and went on to work for the tech investor and conservative mega donor Peter Thiel. So
Just-
this is the guy they're replacing the woman with at CDC. They're crazy. I mean, talk about an
CDC,
anti-DEI
which stands
purge,
for
yeah.
Centers for Disease Control. It's the place
Unbelievable.
where it's basically, you know how you want a wall to keep the Mexicans out, MAGA? Well, CDC is the wall to keep viruses out. And you basically put in charge of that wall a guy who doesn't do science and doesn't know how to build walls. Like, it's great. It's great.
And then the final one, Trump fires member of board that approves railroad mergers. His name is Robert Primus. He received an email from the White House a couple days ago, maybe yesterday, terminating his position. He like Lisa Cook, he says he's going to stay. I think they're going to sue Trump. But the reason why I point him out is another one of the anti-DEI purge, Robert Primus, a black man. And then just the other day, a couple days ago, when I'm doing the Robert Primus story, I see this headline that Trump is rage tweeting someone, a governor, at 2 a.m. And I'm like, oh God, who's the governor? I look it up. Of course, it's black man Wes Moore from Maryland. This is just the pattern. This is just who they attack.
Not to mention that Trump actually put Robert Primus in that position in 2020. It was Trump and Congress, Trump's Congress, who approved him in that position, and now terminated him with no cause. They just said he wasn't pro-America enough.
With all the data we've given you about boards, we just had several news agencies cover some of our analysis about the bro IPO, the bro PO summer.
Yeah.
This is no longer anecdotal. This is what's happening across corporate America and the private sector, the government. The MAGA world is systematically getting rid of women and people of color, and you should know this, and you should fight back, and you should be angry about it.
I would say this because a lot of people say that the country's government is run really inefficiently.
All right, Columbia, no more deals.
Well, I mean, like, if you talk to a lot of people, if you watch a lot of like conservative commentary or whatever, and a lot of it by regular people on social media, they'll say things like the government is really inefficiently run, and the reason why Donald Trump is so appealing is because he's a businessman. He knows how to get stuff done. He knows how to make deals, all that kind of stuff. If you believe that, then what you should spend your time doing is figuring out what happens in the business democracy, the corporate democracy. There is a democracy there where boards are elected, people are fiduciaries, they have roles and jobs and all sorts of stuff. And if you pay attention to that, then you know how they're going to lead over here. And it turns out they're not that efficient. In fact, all they do is hire their friends. They're incredibly expedient. They just move around whatever the political winds are. They don't really care. They chase the highest dollar, and they do it for the shortest possible term. When you make a decision like the CDC director and you put a business person in charge of that, what you end up with is horrible CDC. CDC is a place for science. Not everything is a business. Because if it was, it would run horribly. The alternative democracy is a joke. 26% of American companies are totalitarian. There is no democracy. They are run by a dictator. Those companies do not outperform the democratic companies, but investors put up with it because, that's it. I don't know. That's what we're doing. It's bananas to me that we're even talking about this. Everything's the worst.
That was the second story, the anti-DEI purge continuing.
The second story.
And finally, the third, I did you a favor and I got rid of my fourth story. The third and final story is I'm calling the oligarchy rules, to your point, because I don't want anyone to get mistaken by any of this. We talked about Bernie Sanders also favoring the move for the U.S. government to get shares in Intel. But Bernie Sanders wants that for a very different reason than Donald Trump wants it. Bernie Sanders is not attached to the oligarchy. He's actually fighting the oligarchy. He says this as much every time he speaks. His idea of government control is to give back some of the profits to the people. This is not why the U.S. government now, Donald Trump, is getting involved. And what I'm speaking of is that the U.S. government is making a $9 billion investment in Intel, nearly 10% stake, a stake that does not have voting rights. Another story that we missed this same week, or maybe this happened last week, but it's the same company at Intel, is that SoftBank Group, led by oligarch Masayoshi Son, the great billionaire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He also bought $2 billion of Intel, right? This is really what Trump buying a portion of Intel is really about the oligarchy. It's not about government control. It's about It's about his people having control of the things that he wants to have control of. But I don't know what happens if a Democrat wins the next election, but maybe he's hoping that'll never happen again. But anyway, the third story of the week is just everything around the government taking a stake in Intel.
Like, so I read that the way in the 8K, it says the way that the government stake will work is the government will have voting rights, but is only allowed to vote. Here it is.
Yeah, with
Must vote any shares of common stock held by it in favor of nominees of and any proposals recommended by the company's board of directors and against any other nomination or proposal not recommended by the board of directors.
Right.
Meaning the government will take a stake. Its governance rights are
this is pro CEO, pro
has
oligarchy.
to vote with
Management.
company, has to vote
Yes.
with management.
So this is not. So Bernie Sanders likes this for a very different reason. I want everyone to be clear about this.
They are taking a 9% stake, meaning now 91% of the vote is effectively all you get as investors because 9% is just management voting for itself, right?
And yeah, and so SoftBank again is getting $2 billion, which is about
That's like a 3% stake or something.
so
too.
within a week, 12%, basically 13% of Intel has gone over to the billionaire class with like, in the last week. It's just like
They will vote entirely with management.
crazy.
There will be, and this is the management
I
team
do say crazy
that
a lot.
Trump said needed to be fired. He wanted him fired
That's true. I forgot about that. Yeah.
just a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
So the guy he wanted fired, he has no right to fire. In fact, he can only agree with. What is the deal that the
What-
U.S. government got?
I don't. What the filings don't make clear is how the board was involved with this. I'm kind of surprised that something of this magnitude does not get presented to the shareholders too. Like it's very unusual. Did they just strong arm Intel? Like how did this happen so quickly? How was the board involved? Why is this not up for vote? It's very confusing. But it's mostly confusing because this never happens. So there you go.
Not only does it never happen, the stock has dropped nearly 4% in the last 5 days.
Well, why does the Trump administration and the oligarchy having 9.9% control of Intel? Why should that help Intel? I don't understand how that helps Intel.
I mean,
And again, once again, what about the so-called fiduciary duties of the investors and the board over at Intel?
well, I can't get over, like, just from the government side, right? Like, you took a 10% stake in the company because you were making a trade. The trade you were making was we were going to give you $9 billion that we had already allocated to you, but we were going to withdraw and wheel and deal and whatever. It's just fun to make deals and we'll just do it. But let's say they gave $9 billion of U.S. taxpayer money and they handed it to Intel and they said, what we want in return is a equity stake in the company, but our equity stake will have absolutely no equity rights. What is the trade you just made? Everybody else can vote on Intel, but you can't. Everybody else is entitled to the same equity rights. You basically said, we are willing to cede all control to the company to make this deal. I thought it was like a bad deal for Intel and capitalism. This is a fabulous deal. They get $9 billion. They don't have, and they have, they gave $9 billion. They got $9 billion and 10% of the vote. That's what they got.
Right. Yeah.
A
definite yes for anything.
A definite yes on everything. You can't remove Lip
Which
Bhutan
is the greatest
if you're Donald Trump
poison
anymore.
pill ever because it comes with cash.
What is the trade? What was
I guess
the deal
that
for
Trump,
the U.S. government?
Trump
Did
doesn't
we
get
just
mad at
screwed?
you. I guess the trade is that Trump doesn't get mad at you when Intel gets rid of the barrel from their logo.
$9 billion and 10% of the vote. This is like watching like a Cleveland draft party for the NFL, where somehow they end up trading all their first round picks and they get a kicker in return. Like
that probably actually does happen at Cleveland.
I know
So,
it does.
all right,
Well,
let's.
I don't get it.
Wrap us up here and vote because
Oh my
got.
God,
I'm sick of
I
all
hate
this.
all these. The good news
Cracker
is
Barrel,
I'm on all the same stories. So it'll be
anti-DEI
quick.
purge, and Intel.
I'm not voting for Cracker Barrel story of the week because
What?
as much as it was talked about, I never want to talk about it again.
It's terrible.
I'm not going to talk about the stupid Intel trade because
Really?
I don't want to.
Let's
Like-
not forget Masayoshi's son too. He was involved.
Yeah, but I need to talk. I need to say that the anti-DEI purge is the story of the week because
Ugh.
this is a way. This is now beyond anecdote. It's beyond like,
Yeah,
like
we
guesswork.
we have data for this.
We now have data that
It's
shows
happening.
we are disproportionately, purposefully targeting men and women of color wherever they are.
Hate
If
sells.
we can make up a reason,
It's a
like
race
mortgage
war.
fraud,
It's a war against women. A war against gay people.
they didn't even bother making up a reason for Robert Primus. They didn't even bother. They just said you're fired, right?
This makes all the wheelings and dealings with the universities that we talked about in past shows. We talked about Columbia. We talked about Brown. All the more appalling and upsetting to me. Like, how are you making deals with this administration?
How do
It's
any one
so
of
upsetting.
you bend
So
the
upsetting.
knee? All right, let's
All right,
move
move
on.
on.
Let's go goodliest. Whew. The shortest goodliest I think we've ever done in our production notes.
Well, I'm going to start because I'm going to prove that you can do things. Korea passes boardroom reform curbing chaebol power. So
see,
what a chaebol is essentially is an oligarchy in control of your corporations where billionaires and their families control corporations for generations and do whatever the F they want. And Korea is saying, well, maybe not the greatest idea. So I know everyone jokes at me when I say, hey, why don't we regulate some stuff? Why don't we change some rules here in America? And people are like, it'll never happen. But it can happen. It does happen.
Do you hear that, investors? We had
Yeah.
to go to Korea to get a goodliest of the week this week. We had to go
Speaking of
all the
homophobic,
way
yeah.
to Korea.
Okay.
I have two options.
Go.
Neither one I feel like is great. The other one I just
I
feel
like that
like
both of
is-
yours involve colors.
Yes. First is this headline: Red Lobster is betting on black diners with its brand comeback.
Okay, now who's gonna get upset about that? Should we get upset about that? So if I'm white, I don't feel comfortable going any there anymore, right? They're taking away my heritage.
Well, the great news is, like Cracker Barrel, I never went to Red Lobster either. But at least,
yeah, well, I'm from Maine, so you'd get punched if you went to Red Lobster.
at least I like lobster. At
Yeah.
least at a bare minimum, I like the
Yeah.
lobster. I just like that. This is out strategic. This is thinking like, you know what, we are going.
Wait,
see what
black people can be customers too. Is
You
that
know,
what we're learning?
it turns out they buy stuff.
So yeah,
but
and when your company is struggling, you can reach out for other demographics to get them to buy stuff. That's a part of American capitalism still.
I guess it's still somewhere in there. I didn't read those bylaws, but it's somewhere. But this is
I didn't know black people like
exactly-
to eat. I didn't
This
realize
is
this.
exactly what Cracker Barrel was trying to do. They
Yeah,
were
of
literally
course.
trying to do the exact same thing, which
Yeah.
is no one's coming to our store. Let's get rid of some of the vestige of the really old stuff to attract new young customers so that we're cool again.
Yeah, 'cause what you're
and
saying
we
basically,
make
if you-
money.
If you're gay, if you're a Yankee, if you're black, if you're Jewish, like Cracker Barrel scares you a bit. Like, no offense, Cracker Barrel, but and what we've learned this week is that it's supposed to scare you a bit. Like we're trying to scare you a bit.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
we figured
Now
out
we
that
get
they
it.
like scaring us.
Yeah,
It's,
so I'm
it's
actually
like
not.
Halloween.
I'm actually not paranoid. I'm just reflecting what's real.
It's literally an ongoing Halloween haunted house for everyone under 35.
Yeah.
I like that this is the exact opposite. They're doing exactly what they want and said they were
And
going
what-
to do.
and
We're
what
going
they
to
should
turn
be
this
doing.
around.
All right, what else
We're
you
going to
got?
bet on black diners. I like that.
What else you got?
The other story I have is Blue Sky now platform of choice for science community.
I know this to be true because, I don't use Twitter, but I do use Blue Sky. Although I will say this, Blue Sky is still super depressing. Like I everything I read just makes me feel really sad. It's
Well, you're not in the science community channel.
no, I am. But I'm in a lot of the communities, but it's just that everyone has very sad things to report, is what I'm trying to say. Like,
Oh,
because
oh, oh.
everyone's being fought from every
But
different angle. So,
but what I like about this is they found they ditched all major social
yeah,
media companies.
yes.
I love that somebody basically said, you know what, if we're not welcome, we're gonna go to a place where we are at Blue Sky. We are, and it makes me want to go on Blue Sky, and I've never been on Blue Sky, so now I'm excited to sign up just because
Well,
that's where the smart people have gone. We can hide together.
I will add that not that this is the reason why you pick these stories, but the Red Lobster, the CEO is a black man, Nigerian American, and Chinese American woman runs Blue Sky.
Yeah, love it.
Not
So
all
those are
right.
my options.
Now
What
let's
do you
bring us back
choose?
down again.
No, what do you
Assholiest of the
choose?
week.
What's the winner for
Oh, the
good
winner.
list?
I got to go with the nerdy one.
It's
Korea
Korea,
passing.
right?
Yeah, because I mean that's important,
Yeah,
and we're gonna
that'll
get
be a
into
big
more.
deal.
The first time we do proxy countdown again, we're gonna go really into detail about all that because there's actually a lot of reform going on here.
You're supposed to get people to listen to the show. You're not
Yeah.
supposed to drive them away.
Okay.
All right, let's do
Moving on.
Assholiest.
Because honestly, I don't even care if Red Lobster survives or not.
Well, yeah, that's your main centric
Yeah, I know.
attitude. I have three options. I'm actually going to go in reverse order because we've already covered two of them. The options are shareholder democracy, meritocracy, and surrendering boards. I'm going to start with surrendering boards because we have Cracker Barrel. The headline that I saw was Cracker Barrel CEO under pressure to resign after logo U-turn. I just want to highlight the Illuminati on the board of Cracker Barrel because no one anywhere has really discussed the board of Cracker Barrel except for one guy
Yep.
whose name is Gilbert Davila.
Yeah.
He
Well, I
is-
saw him in the news,
He's the CEO of a diversity marketing company.
and they're
right?
already.
Like,
I've already seen headlines that people are mad at him.
people
his
are mad
fault.
at just that guy because they think
Yeah.
like, well, it had to be
Had to
the-
be him.
It had to be the guy who's a person of color who does diversity marketing, who's the one who got rid of the white guy in the logo, right?
Despite the fact that he's been there for 5 years and clearly loves the company, it's paying him a big paycheck. He's the one who's trying to get rid of the barrel.
Yeah, well, the Illuminati running the board includes Carl Burquist, who was ex Arthur Anderson.
Oh,
Do we remember Arthur Anderson?
I do. Yeah, tell us.
It's the accounting firm that failed miserably during Enron because
Yeah.
it basically helped fraud. It just
America's
just
most
enabled
infamous
fraud.
accounting firm. Yes.
Yeah, a total disaster. It has John Garrett, who worked at Dollar General. When we
gross.
think of winning companies,
Yeah.
don't we all think of Dollar General? That's like
No
the
one
saddest place you can go.
No one abuses its workforce or its customer base really more than Dollar General. So congratulations.
Or how about Giselle Ruiz, who is ex Sam's Club, which
Oh.
is Costco's crappier brother, right? Like,
owned by the Walton family, right?
yes, correct. Like it's the Costco no one goes to, really.
Speaking of the oligarchy, do you know how many stories I tag? I tag stock insider stock trading whenever a director cashes out more than $1 million, a director or executive. The Walton family routinely, it's like every week, they're taking another $80 million home. What the hell? How do we live in a country where we have Walmart, where everything is like cheap and gross and breaks in a week, and just they just people keep going in, yet the family is just cashing out $80 million at a time every 2 weeks. What is this? Well, it's crazy to me.
Well, I mean,
Weird
also on this-
tangent. Keep going.
Just for point of reference, Cracker Barrel expanded the board about 3 months ago to add Steve Bramlage. This is
Who's
in an
that?
8K. Who is that? Casey's General.
Oh, we just talked about Casey's General.
We just talked about Casey's General. One of the things we said about Casey's General is they suck.
Oh yeah, that's another store I've never seen. I've actually never.
I mean, Casey's General is a store that's also losing to the S&P over the last 5 years. Is down in just the last month. It's down almost 6%. Like these are the winners on the board. So when you're picking boards, you're an investor. You're picking a board. Maybe pick someone that will say to Julie Massino, "Hey, stand your ground here. Like,
Look, I would
we
love
can
to
turn
know-
this company around. You want to know why? Because we're good at our jobs." and you could be good at yours.
This is one of the most upsetting things about corporate America and our jobs here is that I would actually love to know, like after a Celtics game when they grill all the players, or like why did you, why did you throw the ball out of bounds, you jerk? I wish reporters could actually ask the board, like, how were you involved with this decision? Tell me about your week. Like,
Yeah,
how many times did you talk to the CEO? Did you vote on anything? Like, how did this go down? Like,
I'm deep in.
I don't know
want
anything.
that.
I would love to
Netflix.
know how the board was involved with this.
Netflix, where the fuck are you? You managed to pull out like the
Film that live. I'd watch
GameStop
that.
movie 7 months after the GameStop meme thing. Like, you cast it and you paid for it. Where's this one? The second board I have here is obviously Intel's board.
And
Which
anyone on the Intel board from Dollar General or Casey's General?
turns out no, but they do have Greg Smith from Boeing, from
Oh.
ex Boeing. So look, when you look at the boards of these companies, like they have a guy from Sequoia, their chair, their quote unquote independent chair, has been there since 2009. A guy named Frank Geary. He's a private equity VC tech guy. Dion Weisler, he was added to the board in 2020. He's ex HP because everybody talks about HP as being relevant in 2025, like printers. When you look at these companies, you realize they are not, the boards of a lot of these companies are not stocked with the top minds of America necessarily. These are not top performers, is all I'm saying. And we should know who they are, because if you want to get pissed at Intel for actually what is, I've convinced myself is now a brilliant trade. They got 10% of the vote and $9 billion for that. That's a brilliant trade for them.
And the CEO keeps his job, and I guess Trump will shut up now.
And Trump is shut up. What a trade. It's really the worst thing possible for America and the best thing possible for Intel.
Every vote now at their company is now rigged because they get a free 10% yes for every vote.
It's great. And guess what? Barbara Novick's on the board. Barbara Novick is one of the founders of BlackRock. BlackRock owns, I think, 9% of Intel, which means it's a guarantee that BlackRock's not going to vote against their ex-founder. Are you kidding me? Can you imagine that vote?
I wish that we could do this in sports too. I wish Trump could give the Red Sox some money. They could buy some new players, and then every game starts off, they have a lead 1-0 for every game. That'd be cool.
It's basically what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
It's like they bought 20% of the vote just by having a BlackRock founder on the board and getting Trump to agree to give up all his voting rights. It's really fabulous. But know your board. That's my first.
Wait, so who's the
surrendering
asshole here?
boards.
People who don't know their boards?
Yeah, it's surrendering boards. I don't like boards that
Surrendering
surrender to
boards.
anybody. I don't like
All right,
these
what else? What
surrendering
else you
boards.
got?
Number 2 is the meritocracy.
The so-called meritocracy. There should be a way of saying that with air quotes, because again, I've still never seen any quantifiable measuring data to support
Free
what
Flow
the
Analytics
meritocracy
has
is.
one.
What?
Free Flow Analytics has one.
Oh, that's true.
They actually the only ones
true.
that have one. I've only one that's actually quantifiable that I've ever seen. But I just, you already covered the DEI purge. Muriel Bowser, Karen Bass. These are cities led by black women, or they're targets
Right,
of Trump.
right.
Letitia Jones, she's a attorney general in New York.
New York, yeah.
She's
Black
under
woman.
a campaign, a pressure campaign from the Trump administration to get removed. Lisa Cook, you talked about.
Black
Robert
woman.
Primus, you talked about. I just want to focus in on what might be the most asshole statement I've ever read, ever,
Go ahead.
about the meritocracy. It came in response to Robert Primus's termination.
Black man, yeah.
Black man. Here's the quote from the Trump administration. Quote, Robert Primus did not align with the president's America First
Ooh.
agenda,
That sounds gross.
which is just Nazi now, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't like the sound of that. Yeah.
and was terminated from his position by the White House. The administration intends to nominate new, more qualified members to the Surface Transportation Board in short order. So, using the dog whistle of merit, right? Like,
Well, it's all bullshit anyway, because the first thing I think of is when I think of the Surface Transportation Board, that if you're going to make a statement that you're going to hire more qualified members of the board, I need a long list of criteria that establishes what it means to be qualified for the Surface Transportation Board. I need to see that, because that way I can actually do my checks and my data and look to say who's qualified. You can't just say a thing.
Well,
I mean, you can.
You can. That's
'Cause
the
this is
problem.
America, yeah.
And right now, the two people that are left on this board, or three people left on this board, are Patrick Fuchs, Michelle Schultz, and Karen Hedlund. One is a Democrat, Karen Hedlund, and the other two are Trump appointees. Guess which one of them actually worked at the Federal Highway Administration, the Federal Railroad Administration, was a deputy administrator. She's been on this board since 2021. Guess which one of them has experience dealing with something like transportation?
Who's that?
The Democrat. It's
Right.
the fucking Democrat who's definitely next, because the guy leading the Surface Transportation Board, the chairman, got a master's degree in public policy. He was part of an international economic program in the National University of Singapore, even though he's a white American. Don't worry, he's a white American. He basically has no prior background in transportation over the surface,
Of
right?
course.
But we're firing the guy who did not. We're looking for more qualified members to align with the president's America First agenda. So America First is white.
I mean, they should be.
That's
forced.
it, right?
They should be
White
forced
conservative.
to. Anytime you make a statement like that, anytime you reference a meritocracy or qualifications, you should be forced to give that list of criteria. I want to see that list.
Unbelievable to me. It's the most asinine
Right?
statement
Like-
I've ever heard in my life.
Just
say
like-
what you mean, asshole.
Bring it back to the sports analogy. If the Red Sox are going to hire a new cleanup hitter, you're going to want to see that cleanup hitter has actually played baseball before and hit a home run. You know,
That
so
would be ideal.
that would be on the qualification list.
I love that Moneyball is basically woke. Like, it's
Unbelievable.
unbelievable.
All right, what else
All
you got?
And then my other one. It
Yeah.
is the shareholder democracy.
Okay.
So I got 4 examples in the shareholder democracy.
Oh, this sounds like it's going to take 3 hours.
First of all, Mike Levin of the Shareholder Primacy podcast. He's also the writer of the Activist Investor newsletter. He put out a newsletter this week. He's part of a lawsuit, Detroit versus Tesla. They basically were sort of, it's a similar lawsuit about Elon Musk's pay package. It was a clawback for directors' pay.
Right.
A
Remember
Detroit
this.
pension fund sued Tesla about clawing back director pay. They won the lawsuit effectively. Here's what Mike writes. I'm just going to read what he wrote. Followers here should recall 10 current and former Tesla directors agreed to repay $735 million in comp they received between 2017 and 2020 as part of the settlement of the derivative lawsuit Detroit v. Tesla. On February 25th of this year, Tesla got $735 million in cash and returned options from the defendants, from the directors. Okay? Tesla got the money back. That's what the lawsuit said.
Right.
They swore it in an affidavit that they had the money from the directors. They did not specify how much each defendant paid, but they said they had the money.
Okay.
In March of this year, March 31st, they filed a brief acknowledging the receipt of the damages and noting that 5 director defendants currently on the Tesla board had not filed Form 4s showing their change in options that they held. Meaning, if they paid the money, you need to file with the SEC to show where the money came from for active directors.
Sure.
On April 29th, the full month later, Tesla authorizes the cancellation of the options to reflect the settlement. So now they file a Form 4s and they cancel the options. On May 1st, the defendants filed the actual Form 4s, but it is impossible for Tesla to have gotten the money from the directors on February 25th without having canceled the options that didn't happen until April 29th. So
Okay,
Tesla
yeah.
files a brief.
Yeah.
a
Summarize this for
sworn
dummies. Yeah.
Tesla files a brief, a sworn affidavit to a judge saying, we took the money from our directors as part of the settlement. And then they don't actually do that until 3 months later.
Sounds very Tesla.
So they're just fucking lying.
Okay.
There's just lying. Now we're just making it up because we don't care.
I think all of
no
this
one's
is
gonna
really
stop us.
you're trying to plug another show in our network called Shareholder Primacy with Mike Levin.
Oh,
and
because I
Ann
got an
Lipton.
email from
Yeah.
Kevin Barnes of K-Bar Holdings, who filed a shareholder proposal at Eagle Materials also this
Yes.
year, asking for shareholder right to file for special meetings. He won
Yeah.
92% in favor.
Wow.
A massive win
Good for Kevin.
for investors. It was a non-binding vote, obviously advisory
course.
vote, but 92% of investors. This isn't Jay Hogue with like 53% voted him out. This is 92% of investors want this right. 92%.
Yeah.
Okay,
Which
that
I will
includes-
say, which we now know is an impossibility at Intel. There will never be a 92% vote in favor
The math,
of a shareholder
the math
proposal.
won't
Never.
work.
Can't happen.
But in order for this to work, Fidelity, Vanguard, BlackRock, and J.P. Morgan, not
Yes.
communists. These are
Well-
massive institutional asset managers had to vote in favor of this.
Right.
Kevin emailed me Tuesday and said Eagle Materials has yet to notice a special meeting to formalize the amendments. They have not actually sent out anything to investors saying they are going to change the bylaws to allow for investors to do this. They're just ignoring him. They're just investors won 92%. They're just ignoring investors.
If
They
any of our
literally have not done
listeners-
anything in a month.
Reach out to us if any of your listeners know what is the expected time period for situations like this. I mean, you said the vote was August 4th. Is 3 weeks enough? I mean, does it take longer? If anyone knows, reach out to us.
File a notice to change the bylaws.
Well,
All
I
they
don't
have
know.
to do is tell investors we're going
I'm
to
with
change
you.
the bylaws.
I agree, but I don't know.
And this
And
should
it
be
is
an
summer.
8K
They're probably all at their third homes on Cape Cod or Lake Michigan or something.
Well, they did have time. This is the like the stupid part. They did have time to file like all sorts of other filings. Like,
Yeah, true.
You think you could have slipped this one
True. Yeah.
in?
What else you got?
Meanwhile, at Samsara, where Mark Andreessen and Sue Wagner, who's the ex BlackRock, also spend their time on the board, they held their AGM on August 16th, and 19 days after the AGM, they added Gary Steele to the board.
Wait, 19 days after August 16th hasn't happened yet. I think you're now hallucinating.
Oh, sorry. August 16th was when they added the person to the board,
Right.
and 19 days prior, they held their AGM.
Yes.
And Corvo, John Chevedden filed a shareholder proposal asking for right for investors to call a special meeting also. It got 44% in favor. And investors only approved pay with 59% in favor.
Investors are mad at Corvo, yeah.
They're mad at Corvo. One day after the annual meeting, the board approved a giant golden parachute for the executives. One day
That's not
after
too
it.
brazen. You know why they do that? Because
No one
they've
fucking
done the
wants them to
math.
do it.
They've looked at the data and they know that investors are not going to vote against them next year.
So those are your three options: the shareholder democracy, the meritocracy, and surrendering boards.
Oh, I feel exhausted. Not going to be the meritocracy because that's pretty evergreen. We talk about that one a lot. The shareholder.
Now, they're all evergreen. I mean,
Yeah.
what are we talking about? They're all evergreen.
I'm going to go with just a classic. It's probably the boring winner here, but I'm going to go with know your surrendering boards. You got to know who are on your boards.
I know you're selling our free.
Yeah, but the
analytics
Cracker
data,
Barrel story is a little bit bigger than just kind of a barrel and some stupid talking points. There are people behind these decisions, so I'm going to vote for that.
That's
Let's move
correct.
on.
There are people behind. All right, let's move on. Let's do headlines.
Try to get outta
winners,
here.
Predictions.
Come
we got to
on.
get out of this show. Okay.
I got a good headline this week. I think I'm only going to pick one in lieu of brevity, and I don't want to get more depressed. I'm going to eliminate my second one, but my first one is a classic that only I would probably like. Pork industry leader David Newman selected as National Pork Board's next CEO.
Oh, I love that.
Right? I mean, it's great. Pork industry leader.
Pork,
I don't know.
A pork leader selected. To
I don't
lead
even
pork.
know why that makes me laugh. I just
It's-
think there's just something funny to me that we still eat pork anyway. Like, what are we doing? Stop killing
I love
pigs.
pork. Oh, get out.
Pork
with that.
industry leader. Imagine that's your thing.
moniker. The pork industry leader selected to lead pork.
It's
is
one
what
thing
it
to like
says.
pork and eat it. Like, I guess I won't super judge you, but pork industry leader. I don't know.
I have two. The first is this headline: Jeff Bezos said he would have felt icky
Ugh.
had he taken any more shares of Amazon. I just didn't feel good.
What the hell is that about? Where did this stupid quote come from?
Didn't he have 16% of the shares?
I mean, what is he talking about?
He's like a 100 billionaire.
Is he not the top 3 most wealthiest people in the world? I shouldn't say people.
But
I
he
should
would
say
have felt
men.
icky if he took another billion worth. He would have felt icky.
What a dope. What else you got?
I love that. And then Sam Altman says colleagues are glad he's a dad now because they think raising a child will help him make better decisions for humanity.
Well, it's weird that you say that because the one I erased, which I just didn't want to get into because it's just too depressing, is OpenAI says it will make ChatGPT safer after parents sue over teen suicide.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't the dad part that made him worry about humanity. It might be the lawsuit part.
By the way, if you make changes directly after you being sued for someone's kid killing themselves, doesn't that mean you're complicit? Essentially, aren't you
I'm pretty
admitting?
Sure you just admitted. Yeah,
I mean, can't we shut down OpenAI for that alone? Come on, what are we doing?
All right, who won the week?
Mine's very easy, and probably because I'm a Mainer and I'm a local, and I have a company that talks against the oligarchy all the time. But my winner of the week is hopeful Susan Collins Slayer. She's our senator here in Maine, who has been senator since I think 1912. And oyster farmer Graham Plattner. He had this to say, quote, I did 4 infantry tours in the Marine Corps and the Army. I'm not afraid to name an enemy, and the enemy is the oligarchy. It's the billionaires who pay for it, the politicians who sell us out. I mean, he really is just sort of, he's summarizing everything that we're talking about today, at least. That's my winner of the week.
I just like how succinct he is.
Hopefully the guy who beat Susan Collins to be the next U.S. Senator from Maine. Yeah, go ahead. What is your winner?
My winner is journalists.
Journalists
who listen to Business Pants.
Oh, okay. Well, I like them actually the most. Yeah.
I like them a lot, but
Why?
This story, Cracker Barrel's inconvenient fact, all the customers who loved its old logo had stopped going to the restaurant. Deanne Urban of the Associated Press literally took our rant about foot traffic and stock movements almost part for part in the story. It's like they
as
must
she
be
should.
listening. Good, you're winning. Because
I welcome
you're getting
all
free
journalists
content
to listen
from
to us.
Feel free to attribute. I'd be
I
cool if you
welcome
attributed.
all analysts, all journalists to listen to us because we'll make you sound smarter at your next meeting. At least we'll give you some ideas.
You got a prediction?
I'll try to do this briefly because I know we don't want to talk about Cracker Barrel again. But I just had some things that I know that will be deleted from Cracker Barrel's next proxy statement. As an example, the fact that the Public Responsibility Committee reviews the company's progress in its diversity and inclusion initiatives.
Oh, you
right?
just delete that
They're definitely going to
inclusion part.
They're definitely going to delete that. They're also going to delete the fact that they said that their board nominees are racially or ethnically diverse, and they embody the diversity that we believe is critical to the effective functioning of any public company board today.
Oh, that's gone.
Particularly in a consumer-facing industry such as ours.
Oh, definitely gone.
See, they're not just talking about white people from the South there. And finally, they're definitely going to delete the term non-binary from their board diversity matrix.
Yeah,
They might get rid of the whole board diversity matrix, but they're definitely getting rid of non-binary. That's my prediction. What do you got?
That's a pretty good one. All right, my prediction is shorter.
Oh, God.
I'm predicting that Ramon Laguerta,
Yes.
the CEO of Pepsi, he quietly scraps a plan they had for their brand Quaker Oats.
Uh-huh.
To remove the picture of the old white Quaker at the top of Quaker Oats. They had a plan to get rid of him, and instead he says scrap the plan. He goes to the marketing team and he says, can we make Quaker guy even older and whiter than he is, and possibly give him a shotgun to hold that says boobs rule on the side of it.
Yeah, because aren't Quakers pacifists? That's not good.
Well, we got to lean in. We almost got rid of the white Quaker guy. How dare us? That's all we got. That's a horrifying show. That's Hazelnut Rallis.
We gotta.
I'm your analyst, Matt Biscardi. We are Free Float. Come back next week. Next week we're relaunching Proxy Countdown. We've got a ton of shows next week, so keep checking. Until then, good.